Hi, I'm Stephen Lay. I'm the chemist here at the Wollongbar DPI Laboratories. First and foremost, accurate results. I'm an analytical chemist, so I need to make sure that the results I produce for customers are accurate. Well, we work with the community. We have a lot of stakeholders, especially from the farming community, being in the Department of Primary Industries. So we get a lot of samples from farmers. They need to know what's happening with their soil and water. So I play an integral role in quantifying the unknown concentrations of many elements in the environment. I can vary. I run a lot of different instrumentation. I also do a lot of other tasks that are asked of me. More recently, we've had field days, we've done presentations. We work with school groups, going out to career workshop days. But my main role is in the laboratory, running instrumentation and reporting results out to our clients. I'm just fascinated by chemistry, you know. Recently my catchphrase is that it's like magic, but it's better, it's chemistry. I just love, it's just the way my brain works. Chemistry is just one part of my personality. Cleaning up. I hate washing up, and we have to be really tidy in what we do. So when you're really busy, it's hard to stay on top of it. So I do all of my own cleaning up, and I can have samples stacked up to the roof, and I know they're there, and you know, it's always gnawing in the back of my mind. So I get a little uncomfortable when the lab's not clean. I know it's there. I try my best to stay on top of it. I can, yeah. Method development, trying to solve the unknown, solve problems. I've done research before. I took a year off work early in my career to do an honours degree. That was my own self-created research project. I was looking at toxicants in my local area, so it was very relevant to where I grew up. I had a vested interest. I developed a new method and took that and applied it to my local area. So I'm very sort of research orientated in my thinking, very analytical, but I also get the job done. So it's bouncing between these two ways of operating, I guess. It's good to have both sides. You don't want to be stuck in one. I think that's one of my key strengths, is to know when to knuckle down and do the work and when to think about things and think about the big picture, I guess. Well, the first thing that comes to mind as an analytical chemist is attention to detail. We deal with a lot of numbers. We're really hard on getting precise and accurate results. So you really need to focus on whether the numbers are actually what they mean. So we need accuracy and precision, which we have a rigorous QC, which is quality control system in place, and anything that's outside of this, sometimes it's not quite obvious when you're dealing with a large amount of data, but you have to really train yourself to notice things that don't look quite right and then question that. So I think, yeah, attention to detail is probably one of the best attributes in this role. Well, a uni degree definitely helps. I was very fortunate. I did a bachelor's degree in science, sub-majoring in chemistry. I was fortunate enough to get a traineeship with CSIRO, so I'll learn a lot about the instrumentation in this role. It's a very important part of this job, is the hands-on part, so you can only learn so much at uni. As soon as you go into the workplace and get exposed to the instruments, it's really great. So the degree is great. It's pretty much a standard entry into the role of a chemist. But the at work part, like the hands-on part, on the job training is really important as well. I've been so fortunate in my career to be involved in a lot of different labs with some really good equipment with some really good operators. It's akin to winning the lotto. I've been very fortunate in my career so far. I studied at UTS. I guess a side note, this is important to mention, is when I first finished high school, I went and did a business degree at Southern Cross University in Coffs Harbour. I barely scraped through, just got passes, and then worked in hotels as a concierge for many years and travelled to Japan and other countries. Eventually, when I was in my late 20s, I decided to study chemistry as a career change and went to UTS. One of the best decisions in my life. Went and studied chemistry, which I was always strong in at school, but I just needed a lot more time to grow up and find what I wanted to do. So I studied at UTS, and then I went back and did an honours degree later in my career as well. That was also through UTS in conjunction with CSIRO. It's spawned through my traineeship, and kind of that's attached to my sort of research brain. I always have these interests in doing new and different varied things, and that one thing led to another. Long story short, people saw what I was doing and said, you should do an honours degree, actually get something out of what I was doing, because I was doing it for my own amusement pretty much. I grew up in Urunga on the mid-north coast, so that's just south of Coffs Harbour, a small town of about 2,000 people. Spent a lot of time in Bellingen at Bellingen High School. So it's just down the road, but it'll be closer when the roadworks finish. That's a really good question. A lot of the work we do here is automated already and very repetitive. Some of the preparation steps are very repetitive. So I see in the future, probably in 20 years, I think robots will take a lot of the mundane preparation work. You'll still need people to interpret the data and troubleshoot and fix problems, but it's not going to be so easy to, I guess it's hard to say, but it'll probably rule out a lot of the entry-level positions, which will be a shame, but will also be good in a respect that you have more time to dwell on the data and fixing problems and thinking about the bigger picture. So I guess to answer the question, automation is probably the biggest thing that we'll see coming in this industry. Yeah, well, I'd say to anyone watching this, they probably want to get up to speed on their coding, and they also want to think about what the data means. It's really important about interpreting and presentation of data. So those skills will be more important than, say, the fundamental skills of pipetting and those basics. I think they will get lost in the future. They're still relevant at the moment, but. It's a good question. As I said before, it took me a long time to work out what I want to do, and I think that's a common thing for most people. You never know quite what you want to do. I started off in business. It wasn't for me, but it did develop a different side of my personality, which I wasn't so strong in. The best advice I give anyone is do something. Just do something when you finish school and do it well. It's not going to define you for the rest of your life, but if you do one thing well, then that can lead into another opportunity. People notice when people are really having a go and trying their best. So it's about just whatever you do, doing it well. And then as time goes on, I've proven that you can change careers and have success in a number of fields.